Before we get to tonight's program, there's a couple of things that need to be said and done. And the first is I'm going to ask David Deering to come up and talk to us about something very special we're doing for a very special person for our April meeting. David?
Thank you, Al. Good evening, everyone. So nice to see you all. You're all in your faces, in your places, with bright, shiny faces. Here we go. I wish I could be a bearer of better news, but as we speak, our beloved Sheila B. Alka is in the throes of death.
Oh.
It's very likely that during this meeting tonight, she will pass, okay? I saw her today. I spoke to her. She may have heard me, she may have not. She's in hospice and has been in hospice the last week. She's resting comfortably. She has a great caregiver, Jean. Her sister, Carol, has come in from Great Britain, okay? Her brother-in-law, Rodney, is coming in this weekend, okay? And her dear friend Marilyn has been with her daily for the last week or two, okay? She last spoke to me last Thursday, not quite a week. I walked in and saw her in her bed, and she said, Davy, Davy, Davy. And that's the last thing I heard from her, okay? So, I met Sheila Bianca in 2006 when I moved here. I wanted to be in theater and auditioned over at Clubhouse 3, and she was there. And she said to me after I auditioned, I'm going to make you a star. I'm still waiting, Sheila. Next month's meeting will be a celebration of life for our beloved Sheila B. Alka. Okay? Please plan to be here. I'm not sure of the exact day and time. I've heard two different things. If Al knows, it's the 10th.
Monday the 10th at
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock, right here.
Monday the 10th at 3 o'clock. That's the last word I got as well. So, I am putting together a celebration of life. She was acknowledged by the village in 2010, and I put together a PowerPoint, okay? And I will be showing that, or parts of that. My good friend Mark Rabinowitz and I are going to sit down at the computer, as we have done many, many times, and put together a wonderful program for the celebration of Sheila's life, right? We would certainly like you to be here, and we would certainly like you to tell your friends, okay? Sheila has been involved in the Old Pro since 2004, when she was one of the original co-founders. Right? And if you look in your last roster, which has been a while, maybe 3 years, she is on the inside cover with all the friends. And I looked at that just recently, and several of those people have preceded Sheila, okay? But we will be here the 10th of April at 3 o'clock for a celebration of life of our beloved Sheila Bianca. And when I see her tomorrow, I will say that I was here, shared the message, and I know you all send your love. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. All right. Let's talk about tonight. First, I have a question. How many of you like this time and venue? Better than the afternoon thing? All right, that's good to know. Good to know. Good information to have. Thank you very much. All right. Tonight, we have a very, very special program for you. And first, before I talk about the program, I'm going to talk about a very special person. Gila Zohn. Now, Gila is an author. She's a director. She's a producer. I mean, she does it all, and she does it well. She did the research for tonight's show. She wrote the show. She directed the show. So that's Gila Zohn. Tonight is billed as an evening with Lewis Carroll. but it wouldn't be an evening with Lewis Carroll without Gila Zalone. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to invite Gila to come up, and she's going to say a few words, and we're going to get this play on the road.
Okay, before I tell you about tonight's show, I just want you all to know that next Thursday I'll be wearing another hat. The Video Club's premiere of this year's movie will be next Thursday evening at 6:30 at the Video Club. It's going to be a nice party, and I will tell you that I directed that movie. And it was written by Jeannie Sanner. Some of you may remember Jeannie. And you're all welcome to come and join us. But tonight, I want you to know that what you're going to be seeing is Lewis Carroll and his imagination. So just beware that when Lewis speaks about his life, he then goes off into his wonderland, and all of his imaginary people will, or some of them, will appear before you. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy Lewis Carroll and Alice in Wonderland.
Lingering in a golden dream. Life, what is it but a dream? Little children nestle near, eager eye and willing ear, pleased a simple tale to hear. In a wonderland they lie, dreaming as the days go by, dreaming as the summers die.
And do you like insects?
Oh, I like them when they can talk, but where I come from, insects never talk.
Oh, do they answer to their names?
Well, they don't as far as I know.
There's no use in their having names if they don't answer to them. But they do have names, you know.
Oh, well, what would your name be if you were an insect?
My name would be Natalie Fly. Nat for short.
Oh! Ouch! A gnatfly! We know a rocking horse fly.
dragonfly!
And a butterfly?
Ah, yes, the butterfly.
If you look very closely right there at your feet, you'll find a bread and butterfly who'd like a bite to eat.
Who would like a bite to eat? Like a bite to eat?
Above your head and slightly to the right, you'll see a little fly-by-night. Very
Fly-by-night. A very graceful sight.
But please be very careful, or it might just die of fright.
Oh, well, what would your name be if you were an insect?
Well, as much as my name is Lewis Carroll, actually my name is Charles Ludwig Dodgson. But unlike the insects, I don't like to bite.
Oh, I didn't hear you stutter before. Why are you stuttering now? You know, I have a little friend who stutters, but they're teaching him not to.
Well, I don't stutter when I'm speaking to children, so why don't we pretend that you're all children and my stutter will disappear, unless one of you decides to become an adult. So please control yourselves. Wait until I leave before you return to your old, boring adult selves. Imagination is the only weapon in the war against reality. My name, as I said, is the Reverend Charles Ludwig Dodson.
Well, that is truly curious. So, if your name is that very complicated one, how did you become Lewis Carroll? Or is your name really Natalie Fly?
Oh,
Do you speak Latin? Do you speak Latin?
do you speak Latin? Anyone here familiar with Latin? Okay, I may have won all the math awards when I went to school. They say I was a mathematical genius, but I truly love words. Words, words, words.
Fractus is a word. Frumious is a word. Jabberwocky is a word.
'Twas brillig and the slithy toes did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy with a borough and the mome wraths are grave.
Beware the jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite and claws that snatch. Beware the jub-jub bird and shun the frumious bandersnatch.
He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought.
And as if uffish thought he stood, the jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffling through the toady wood and burbled as it came.
1, 2, through and through his vorpal sword went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back.
Oh, hast thou slain the jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. Of Fabius day, galoo-galay, she chortled in her joy.
'Twas brillig and the slithy toes did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy with the borough grows, and the mome wraths are grave.
Like we said, those words are not words.
Right, they are not.
Oh, but they are. Just think about it. Frabjous, that's fabulous, joyous, and rapturous. And frumious, that's furious and fuming.
Oh, but you made those words up. They don't mean anything.
From the beginning, brillig means 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and slithy means life and slimy.
And toes?
Toes are something like badgers, and something like lizards, and something like corkscrews. Gyre is to go round and around like a gyroscope. Mimsy is flimsy and miserable. A borough is a thin, shabby-looking bird with its feathers sticking out all around.
Oh, humph. You may think those words mean something, but still, you made them up.
Yes, I did. And if you want to make up a new word, go ahead, try it. Maybe combine 2 words to make a word that really means what you want it to, like chortle, which is chuckle and snort. Go ahead, try it, you'll like it.
Oh, is that how you got your name? By playing with words?
Yes, but I played with words in both Latin and English. So how did I get my name? Listen carefully. This is a class in Latin 101. Charles in Latin translates to Carolus. Ludwig, my middle name, translates to Ludovicus. Got it? Carolus Ludovicus. And when I retranslate my name into English, they are Carol Lewis, you see. And then all I did was switch them around. Carolus Ludovicus, that became Lewis Carroll. Remember this lesson when you study Latin at school. You will be 1 step ahead of the class.
Well, I don't think I want to study Latin. It sounds so boring. Is it boring being an adult?
I wouldn't know. I've never been one.
Oh, but you said it yourself before to the adults in the audience. You said you didn't want them to return to their old, boring selves.
It's a poor sort of memory that only works backward. I want mine to remember what I will say tomorrow.
Well, did you remember if you liked school? You know, I don't like school at all. The children are mean to each other.
I didn't go to school when I was your age. I learned at home. In fact, when I was 7 years old, I was reading books that the grown-ups were reading, but only if they were clever, not boring.
Oh, that must have been a very long time ago.
It was. I was very good at mathematics. Let's see if you can figure it out. If I were born in 1832, what year was it when I was 7?
Oh, I will go and ask that funny man over there to help me.
No room, no room.
Why, there's plenty of room.
Well, in that case, have some wine.
I don't see any wine.
That's because there isn't any.
Well, it wasn't very nice of you to ask if you didn't have any.
Well, it wasn't very nice of you to sit down without being invited.
Well, I only came to ask how much is 1832 plus 7. You needn't have been so rude.
Well, then let me ask you a riddle. How is a raven like a writing desk?
Oh, I love riddles. I think I can guess that one.
You think you can get the answer to it?
Exactly so.
Well, then you should say what you mean.
Well, I do. At least I mean what I say, and that's the same thing, you know.
Not at all the same thing. It would be the same thing as saying, I see what I eat, is the same thing as, I eat what I see. Or, I like what I get, is the same thing as, I get what I like. Or, I breathe when I sleep, is the same thing as saying, I breathe when I sleep when I breathe.
I don't quite understand you.
Have you guessed the answer to the riddle yet?
No. What's the answer? I give up.
I haven't the slightest idea.
Well, I think you might do something better with your time than wasting it asking riddles that you don't have an answer to.
Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you're at. Do you know the song?
I think I've heard something like that.
Up above the world you fly, like a tea tray in the sky. There is a place like no place on earth, a place of wonder and mystery and danger. Some say in order to survive it, you have to be as bad as a hatter, which, luckily, I am.
I didn't get an answer. Oh, hello. Maybe you could help me.
Speak when you're spoken to.
Well, if everybody spoke when they or didn't speak, then, oh dear, nobody would ever say anything. Okay, I only wanted to ask, how much is 1832 plus 7?
You not only do not have any manners, you can also need lessons in addition. What is 1 and 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 1?
I don't know. I lost count.
Well, she can't do addition. Can you do subtraction? Take 9 from 8.
9 from 8. I don't think you can.
Oh, she can't do subtraction either. Can you do division? Divide a loaf with a knife. What is the answer to that?
I'm not sure.
Bread and butter, of course. Try another subtraction. Take a bone from a dog. What remains?
Well, the bone wouldn't remain, of course. And if I took the bone away from the dog, well, the dog wouldn't remain. Oh, but he might try to bite me, so I wouldn't remain. So nothing would remain. remain.
Wrong, as usual. Since the dog would lose its temper and the dog went away, the dog's temper would remain. You can't do arithmetic at all.
Well, can you? If so, please tell me what is 1832 plus 7?
The answer is 1839.
Off with his head! He has interrupted me. He has absolutely no manners.
As I got older in 1846,
I know, you were 14 years old.
yes, when I was 14, I was sent to rugby school, and I have to say that no earthly consideration would induce me to go through those 3 years again. My nephew, Stuart Dodgson, has always said that though I was quiet and retiring, I knew how to use my fists in defense of the smaller boys who were bullied horribly.
Oh, would you have defended girls too? You know, I was terribly bullied by that Red Queen.
Absolutely. I learned earlier that one of the deep secrets of life is that all that is really worth doing is what we do for others. In fact, since most of my relatives were either soldiers or religious clerics, I could be either one, and both were all about doing for others. But when I went to Oxford, I was so good in mathematics that I ended up with awards and a scholarship and a lectureship in the college for most of my life.
Oh, do you really have no manners? I hadn't noticed it.
Of course I do. I am clearly very well-mannered, very shy, very precise, very austere. Have you seen me get angry, or interrupt anyone, or laugh out loud? No, no, no. I am well-mannered and very conservative, and very religious too. In fact, I was ordained a deacon in the Church of England when I was only 30 years old.
Then why do you write all those silly stories and poems? Oh, yes, please, recite one of your poems. Which one should we recite for?
The walrus and the carpenter. That's the longest. The sun was shining on the sea, shining with all his might. He did his very best to make the billows smooth and bright. And this was odd because it was the middle of the night.
The moon was shining sulkily because she thought the sun had got no business to be there after the day was done. It's very rude of him, she said, to come and spoil the fun.
The sea was wet could be. The sands were dry as dry. You could not see a cloud because there was no cloud in the sky. No birds were flying overhead. There were no birds to fly.
The walrus and the carpenter were walking close at hand. They wept like anything to see such quantities of sand. If this were only cleared away, they said, this would be grand.
Oh, if 7 maids with 7 mops swept it for half a year, do you suppose, the walrus said, that they could get it clear? I doubt it, said the carpenter, and shed a bitter tear.
Oh, oysters, come and walk with us, the walrus did beseech. A pleasant walk, a pleasant talk along the briny beach. We cannot do it more than 4 to give a hand to each.
The eldest oyster looked at him, but never a word he said. The eldest oyster winked his eye and shook his heavy head, meaning to say he did not choose to leave the oyster bed.
But 4 young oysters hurried up. Oh, eager for the treat. Their coats were brushed, their faces washed, their shoes were clean and neat. And this was odd, because, you know, they hadn't any feet.
4 other oysters followed them, and yet another 4, and thick and fast they came at last, and more and more and more, all hopping through the frothy waves and scrambling to the shore.
The walrus and the carpenter walked on a mile or so, and then they rested on a rock conveniently low. And all the little oysters stood and waited in a row.
The time has come, the walrus said, to talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot, whether pigs have wings.
But wait a bit, the oysters cried, before we have our chat. For some of us are out of breath, and all of us are fat. No hurry, said the carpenter. They thanked him much for that.
A loaf of bread, the walrus said, is what we chiefly need. Pepper and vinegar besides are very good indeed. Now, if you're ready, oysters dear, we can begin to feed.
But not on us, the oysters cried, turning a little blue. After such kindness, that would be a dismal thing to do. The night is fine, the walrus said. Do you admire the view?
It was so kind of you to come, and you are very nice. The carpenter said nothing but, cut us another slice. I wish you were not quite so deaf. I've had to ask you twice.
It seems a shame, the walrus said, to play them such a trick, after we've brought them out so far and made them trot so quick. The carpenter said nothing, but the butter's spread too thick.
Oh, I weep for you, the walrus said. I deeply sympathize. With sobs and tears, he sorted out those of the largest size, holding his pocket handkerchief before his streaming eyes.
Oh, oysters, said the carpenter, you've had a pleasant run. Shall we be trotting home again? But answer came there none, and this was scarcely odd, because they'd eaten everyone.
I loved the walrus best because, you see, he felt sorry for those poor oysters.
Well, he ate more than the carpenter, though. You see, he held his handkerchief in front, so the carpenter couldn't see how many he took. Contrariwise.
Oh, that was mean. Then I like the carpenter best, if he didn't eat as many as the walrus did.
Well, he ate as many as he could get.
Well, then they were both very unpleasant characters. And you wrote a very unpleasant poem. Do you always write unpleasant poems?
Well, I started writing poems and stories for our family magazine, Mishmash. And I meant them to be fun, but I didn't think of them as being unpleasant. In fact, some of the stories and poems I wrote for our magazine were published afterwards.
Well, still, that was a very unpleasant poem.
I suppose it was.
You know, I've heard some nasty rumors about this guy.
I don't want to hear rumors. You know that all that stuff we just saw from Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass, and they became some of the most famous children's books in the world. And he wrote 15 other books of stories and poems and fun stuff. Some about Alice.
Oh, that's just it. They say he was in love with Alice Liddell and wanted to marry her. And she was only 11 years old. That would make him a pedophile.
Oh, pedophile, schmedophile. Did you ever hear that he even touched her? Of course not. Besides which, I heard that he was really in love with Alice's older sister, who was of marriageable age. And I also heard that he told his stories to all of Alice's siblings, young and old, and that he was friends with the whole family, so stop spreading rumors.
Oh, but there were pages missing from his diary. And some people said he felt guilty and had a nervous or something or other. I know. Oh, I know. A migraine headaches with an aura. You know what that means? He was seeing things. He really was a sicko.
You just don't understand. The aura in a migraine is when you have those eye flashes first. And sometimes all you have are the flashes. That's all it means. Lots of people get them. And if it causes pain, you should really be sorry for him, not casting aspersions. The guy was genius. Did you know he wrote papers and books on mathematics and actually created word games, including the game of Scrabble?
Where would we be without Scrabble? Really? Okay. But what about his interest in psychical research? He actually believed that we could read each other's thoughts. Now, don't tell me that wasn't cuckoo.
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe one day we'll see what we can do. Anyway, he wrote articles about it and seemed to make sense, so maybe he really was prescient. Maybe some of us really can read each other's thoughts, but we don't know it yet.
Do any of you like word games? Try this one on for size. How do you make a cat into a dog in 3 easy steps? Any guesses? Okay, I'll tell you. Write it down if you want to. First, you change the A in cat to an O, and now you have a cat. Secondly, you change the first letter, and the second letter is changed from C to a D. Now it reads dot. Thirdly, the T becomes a G, and voila, the cat is now a dog. Your magazine, Scientific American, featured my games and puzzles in their March 1960 issue. Fun?
Oh, yes, let's have fun.
Then go knock on that door over there.
Knock, knock.
What do you want?
Who is the person who's supposed to answer that door?
Answer the door. What did it ask?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, I speak English, doesn't I? Are you deaf? I said, what did the door ask?
Oh, nothing. I was knocking at
Oh,
it.
shouldn't do that. Bad idea. Make it mad. You leave it alone. Bang, bang. It'll leave you alone. See?
Well, could you please tell me what I have to do to get in that house?
Well, I think you should start off with your left foot. Follow me. I will show you. Here. First, you pick up your left foot, and then you put it down, up, down, and then you turn around. And when you master that, you do the same with the right. Up, down, turn around with all your might.
Oh, that's fun, but are you sure that will get me through the door?
Son, you gotta speak up louder, because I can hardly hear you. There's so much noise around here. Here, let me show you what's next. You step on back with a bend and a roll, a back, and give it some soul. Now you repeat from the end with a left and a right, up, down, turn around with all your might. Then you take a walk with a 1, 2, 3, a step, and another step. Just follow me. You keep your toes pointed out and your knees pointed in. 4 steps back, and then you begin.
You already showed me how to begin. Don't you mean now you end?
Son, the one thing everybody here knows that you haven't learned yet is you start at the end and you finish at the way beginning.
Oh, come join us? Let's have fun.
No, thank you. I can sing a little, tell stories, play a mean game of charades, but I cannot dance.
Oh, well, wonderful. Let's play charades.
Yes, let's. I'll start.
Okay.
No, I'll start. I want to start.
No, don't tell us. Act it out.
Act it out.
Oh, stop it. Why are you hitting me?
I'm not hitting you.
No. Let the audience tell us what you think they're doing.
Well, I used to be pretty good at this game. Let's see how well you do. What are Tweedledee and Dum doing? Any ideas?
Jabbing.
Exactly! He took a jab at Tweedledee.
Ah, exactly. What's next?
I'm not sure what.
Oh, that's it. It's either or Well, what's next?
Oh. It looks like he's cooking, like my mother does in her walk.
Yes, your mother's walk. And there's one more.
Okay, audience, you've got a jab, an and an and a walk, and finally, anyone in the audience get it?
I know.
You should. This is the easiest game of charades I have ever participated in.
Jabberwocky.
Oh, hooray! I knew it all along. That was a lot easier than adding 1832 plus 7. Besides, you already told me that story.
Enough of all these childish games. You have broken all the rules. Games must have rules.
I keep telling her, in order to have rules, you have to have a ruler. She keeps telling me that she is a ruler.
Yes.
She doesn't look like a ruler. She doesn't have a straight edge. And she doesn't have any markings for inches.
Off with your head. Enough of all this. Oh. Let us have, where is my game of chess?
But if you
Now.
If you want to follow the rules, then you should follow the rules that Mr. Carroll created. Yes. Because they are the rules that people actually follow. Like fairer elimination rules for tennis tournaments. A new sort of postal money order. Rules for reckoning postage rates. Rules for winning in betting. Rules for dividing a number by various divisors. And a rule for finding the day of the week for any date. Well, we do that now on our computers, but I don't think they had computers in 1852.
And because you are entirely bonkers, I'll tell you a secret. All the best people are bonkers too. At least that's what Mr. Carroll thinks.
Well, it really doesn't matter. But now I have some pattern, including some new and more inventions by a man who coined the latter. Means for justifying the right margins on a typewriter, a steering mechanism for a Volosymon tricycle, and double-sided adhesive tape for fastening your envelopes or putting pictures in a book. At least 2 ciphers for cryptography, whatever that means.
Oh, curious, sir, and curious, sir. I don't understand a word you're saying.
That's all right. I don't think they understand it either, which is how it should be.
Where is my game of chess? We must play chess.
I can be a knight.
And I will be a day.
Don't be silly. There is no day and night in a chess game.
But you said you needed a night, then why is there no day?
Not a night, stupid. A knight in bright, shining armor.
I dare say this is crazier than I am.
You dare say? What have you got to do with I dare say in any way whatsoever, completely not in any other significance whatever?
I'd like to take a vote.
Yes, yes,
May I ask what we would be voting on?
Well, if the game of chess is to have a day as well as a night.
Then I propose we use the Dodgson method. In 1884, I proposed a proportional representation system for Parliament, where each member casts only one single vote. They didn't have that until I came along. So how many of you think we should have a day as well as a night in chess? 1, 2, 3. That's 3 votes for. And how many of you think we should have 2 nights instead of a day and a night? That's 1, 2, 3. Well, that's 3 votes for 2 nights. It looks like we have a tie. Oh, Alice, you haven't voted. Which way do you vote?
Well, since I am much too young to vote, I think I should abstain.
Wait, can I still vote?
Of course. Do you vote for or against?
I vote that we sing a song and dance.
Well, that's not exactly what we were voting about. But since it was a tie, there's no more to be said.
Well, since there is no more to be said, then perhaps we should ask Frog, what dance would you like to do?
I would like to do the waltz of the flowers and frogs. Well, maybe toadstools instead. You know, a tree can bark. Arf, 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 arf. And potatoes can see in the dark. At night they sleep on pillowy flower beds. The grassy hills make pillows for their heads. And at their tired stems, the toadstools wait for them to sit and rest because they've danced all day.
You might try not being so forward.
She means, I think, you're very backward.
How can I be forward and backward at the same time?
What they mean is
You must be very backward.
to be forward in the looking glass.
Well, that's a riddle. I must be backward and forward in looking glass land. Curiouser and curiouser.
Did you know that people come out backward when we take their pictures with a camera? And when I used to take pictures, they also came out upside down.
Oh, that is weird. Oh, it's just like in looking glass land. Is that because a camera is like a looking glass?
Exactly. In the old cameras, we put something that was coated with silver, just like a mirror.
And you took pictures of me and my family.
Yes, I took pictures of me, sometimes by looking in a mirror, and sometimes by setting the camera on a timer. And some very famous people asked me to take their pictures too, like Alfred Lord Tennyson, the poet, and Ellen Terry, the actress, and lots of others.
Oh, and that's how you met my family, when you were taking pictures at the cathedral in Oxford, where you and my father were teaching. And I was only 5 years old then.
Yes, and I thank you and your family for helping to make me famous. Although I did a lot of writing, I wrote my children's books only because of you. And your father was a dear friend until just recently. I'm not sure why he and your family suddenly decided not to be my friends. But I still am very grateful to them and to you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Enough of this nonsense. Out, 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 out. We will go play chess somewhere else.
Lewis Carroll, or Charles Dodgson as he was actually known, was a writer, a teacher, a theorist, an inventor, a photographer, a genius. He was religious, but not overly so. He was interested in politics in a, well, non-political way. He was a simple man, a shy man, and gained fame and fortune more from his children's books than from any of his other endeavors.
He died at the age of 66 of pneumonia after a bout of influenza. He lived to see his most famous book become a successful musical play. And a church in Daresbury, England, chose stained glass windows depicting scenes from Alice in Wonderland.
And Alice Liddell went on to marry and live a long life, dying at 1934, at the age of, well, you figure it out. Remember, she was born in 1852. Maybe you can ask the frog or the Red Queen.
Ever drifting down the stream, lingering in a golden dream, life, what is it but a dream? Little children nestle near, eager ear and willing eye, pleased a simple tale to hear.
In a wonderland they lie, dreaming as the days go by, dreaming as the summers die.
Thank you all for coming to our Evening with Lewis Carroll. We invite you back next month for our tribute to Sheila Bialka. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for coming, folks. We enjoyed having you here. Bye-bye.